If you'll remember, the last time Texas played a team from the Sooner State, it did not go well for said team. But this ain't the Sooners. The 11th ranked Cowboys have their shot at number 20 Texas. The Pokes, they kind of owned this series lately. They're looking for win number 6 in 8 meetings. This one is going down in Stillwater. But the Pokes, they need something a little bit stronger than water to wash out that bad taste in their mouths after fumbling away a 17-point lead at TCU last Saturday. Back to the here and now, and here with us now is Cody Nagel from GoPokes247 and Chip Brown of Horns247. And there are a lot of directions that we could take this, but you guys are the experts, so I want each of you to tell me an aspect of this matchup that nobody's talking about. Chip, kick us off.
Well, Texas is back in the AP top 25, and there's excitement around the program, but you cannot talk about the Longhorns as a Big 12 title contender until they show they can win a true road game. They've lost 4 straight true road games dating to last year, and including that 37-34 overtime loss at Texas Tech earlier this season. This is a team that was mentally fragile last year, seems to be gaining confidence and maturity and poise, especially with the win over Iowa State last week. The number 1 defense in the Big 12, Texas was able to run it. And not everything went well for Texas in that game against Iowa State, and they still found a way to hang on and win it. Even with Iowa State driving late, they had to force a fumble to make it happen. So Texas, the next step for this program under Steve Sarkisian is to win a true road game. They're 1-5 in true road games under Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, I don't know if this is necessarily a must-win game for Oklahoma State, but another loss definitely makes its path to the Big 12 title game a lot more difficult. The Cowboys are in the kind of the toughest stretch of their schedule this season. They've got back-to-back road games coming up against Kansas State and Kansas after this weekend. If they're able to survive these next 3 games, I like their chances of getting back to Arlington, but that top half of the Big 12 standings is getting crowded with Texas in the mix as well for one of those 2 spots. But if it comes down to tiebreakers at the end of November, this is a game that we might look back on that kind of decides who gets into that championship game and who doesn't.
A lot to prove for both of these squads. Now, these 2 quarterbacks have very different levels of experience playing in college. Spencer Sanders is in his 4th season as the starter, while Quinn Ewers just made his 4th ever start. We've seen a lot of Sanders, but I'm not sure if we'll see him on Saturday. So, Cody, what's the latest with his status?
Yeah, the big question since this past Saturday is kind of what's going on with Spencer Sanders. Mike Gundy didn't provide a whole lot of clarity on his status for the 4th-year starting QB, but what we do know is he's likely dealing with some sort of injury in his throwing shoulder. 2 weeks ago after the game against Texas Tech, it was wrapped in ice, which isn't uncommon for quarterbacks. But then there were some reports before the game against TCU that he was limited in practice and didn't see a whole lot of action during the week. So we'll see if he's able to go on Saturday, but if he's not, that obviously changes, the whole game plan for Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and Spencer Sanders, even though his passing numbers have dropped off the last 2 games to under 50% completion rate, the guy has made big plays with his legs. 2 touchdowns in each of the last 2 games, and Texas is starting a gauntlet in their season of running quarterbacks, starting with Spencer Sanders. Then they'll face Adrian Martinez of Kansas State and then Max Duggan of TCU, all in a row with an off week after the Oklahoma State game. But, Texas has got to shut down the run, continue to shut down the run. Texas has done a good job of that in Big 12 play. And if they can make Oklahoma State one-dimensional, if Spencer Sanders is dinged, and you have to make him beat you with his arm, then that probably improves the likelihood win probability for Texas. And then, Quinn Ewers has got to do what he did against Oklahoma, against a pass defense that's trying to figure it out. Oklahoma State, the worst pass defense in the Big 12. Quinn Ewers has got to be able to, carve them up like he did the Sooners. I'm not saying that's going to happen because it is in Stillwater, but Ewers is a talented guy. When he knows what he's looking at, he is a bit of a magician. I think that 3-high safety look that Iowa State provided got to him a little bit. It was a sluggish start, but he figured it out. And this is going to be, to me, the place where Texas has got to make big time plays in the passing game against that pass defense, because Oklahoma State's front is a veteran group and they're tough. They're tough against the run.
Well, speaking of the run, we know Spencer Sanders can get it done on the ground, but a good run game is really every quarterback's best friend, right? But especially if he's playing injured or if his backup steps in. So, Cody, that area of the Pokes offense really needs to improve.
Yeah, to just kind of get into some numbers here, the Cowboys have averaged just under 3.5 yards per carry in the 3 Big 12 games this season, and a lot of that's been on Spencer Sanders. But if you take his numbers out, Oklahoma State's just averaging 2.8 yards per carry with its running backs. That's something that definitely has to improve on Saturday. Otherwise, the offense becomes one-dimensional and then relies too much on Spencer Sanders to make plays with his arms. And as far as we know, he's not quite at 100% right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Texas took a huge step last week in being able to run the football against Iowa State. Texas could not run the ball to end the game at Texas Tech when they had a 31-17 lead late in the third quarter. They couldn't run the ball consistently to keep Texas Tech's, and blackjack Joey McGuire going for it on fourth down every chance he got. And that game got away from him, and it was another lost lead for Texas. But Bijan Robinson, Roschon Johnson ran the ball, averaged 4.4 a carry as a team. In that win over Iowa State, both had big-time runs and some big-time catches from Bijan Robinson. But that was a big step for this offense and this offensive line. And like you said, Emily, the run game is a young quarterback's best friend, any quarterback's best friend, but especially a young quarterback making his first start in a true road game.
Very important for both of these squads to be able to rush in this game. Guys, thank you so much for all of this great information. You can stay up to date on all the latest happenings with these two teams at GoPokes247 and Horns247. Now, later in the show, we are picking this game with our betting expert, Alan Bell.